and it says that this hangout on there is live. Okay, so this is the third video of me writing code for a Get Ride application, right? This is similar to like Uber or Lyft. And I'm doing this in F#. And this is just some exercises that I'm just live streaming. And I wonder, I don't know if I have my microphone hooked up to my headset, but maybe I should check that. Kill you. How do I know if I have this hooked up to my headset? There is no way. There's a, well, okay, everything's hooked up. So yeah, so in the last couple of videos, I demonstrated um, a methodology that I've been practicing, which is basically type-driven development and then test-driven development once your types are established or fleshed out. And the product of those two are these automated tests, where now I have 4 of them. If we examine these tests, this is an example, right? Actually, this is kind of hard to read. Start with the first test. So we have a view model. That's our get ride view model. We inject some passenger and some ride query. And on this view model, we set our pickup and our destination. Hence, we mock some location for our pickup. We mock some destination for our destination. And then we execute our request, right? The view model.request.execute. That's going to return, not really return, but that's going to mutate another property on our view model called ride. Our ride is going to be of a result type, which is going to be either okay or error, okay? If it's okay, we get a result. That result is either going to be we're going to have some ride or we're not going to have a ride at all, okay? If we have some ride, then we take that value of that ride and it should equal to some ride that's in our mock.someRide. Else we just throw an exception. And if it's an error, we throw an exception, right? And so all these tests pass right now. If I do Control ML, it expands everything. You can see all the tests that I have so far. So for example, the first one is providing pickup and destination results in ride, okay? The second one, Control MO, will collapse everything. The second one is providing nonstop supported pickup doesn't result in ride. Let me start over. Providing non-supported pickup doesn't result in ride. And so in this case, in our view model, we inject a non-favorable ride query. Okay. That's the function that's going to execute. And when we execute our requests, we see that all of our tests pass. But in this case, we're looking for no ride to be the result, hence the option type of none. And that's it. So what I want to do, what do I want to mess around with in this video? Well, I notice on my Uber app and my Lyft app, when you request a ride, you also have the option to pick which bank card you want that ride fee to be deducted from. And that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of excited about that exercise. So right now we have our app.foundation in our solution, and then we have our portal domain. This ride domain, I'm not sure if that really belongs here right now because our portal is already handling that. Okay. So let me think about this. That ride, there's kind of 2 different domains, right? There's also I don't know if I should call this a transaction domain, like a financial transaction, or maybe it could be, hmm, maybe it could be financials, or maybe it could be pay or pay domain, IDK. So I know what I could do is I could say this is going to be 01, and actually our app.foundation, that could be 00, and this pay can be, come here. This pay can be 02. Not sure if pay is the right name, but basically what I'm saying is there needs to be functionality, and we don't have to implement it now, but there should be some functionality where you configure your payment methods, right? And maybe that's better. Payment. Okay. So we have our portal, we have our payment. Now the payment can be implemented later, but something that I know is going to go in our payment domain is, let me move this back over here. Our payment domain is, it should follow the same template, right? So we're going to have a specification. Okay. In our specification, we're going to have two libraries. We're going to have our payment dot specification library, and we are going to have, and put that in the wrong library. I need a scope to payment, a scope to this right here. We're going to have our payment dot specification library, and I think, yeah, this was, yeah, that's fine. And we're also going to have a, if we do a .NET framework, we're going to have our payment tests library as well. Okay. Now, why is this? This is complaining because it's the same name as the library payment specification. So this library we're going to call language.fs, and that should be happy. We'll also have to add another file under specification, and we'll call that file operations. Operations, okay, .fs. And your operations should probably come after payment. Payment.specification is the name of our module. And .language, okay. And that should be straight. Uh-oh. For our operations, we should adopt the same naming convention. .operations, okay. Let foo equal whatever, Control Shift B. and unable to find net standard DLL in any of the, that's weird. So if I do Control Alt, this is a class library. I don't understand why it's complaining about this. If I do rebuild, unable to find the, if I look at the output window, let me get rid of all this noise. Actually, my phone's gonna ring. Okay, so why is this acting up? Unable to find net standard DLL in any of the things. And that appears to be a bug because I didn't really do anything. So one thing I could do is I can clean. I could clean this project and I could try to re-add it. All right, so let's remove. Let's remove this project and let's make sure that it's deleted. Delete that. Okay. And let's try this one more time. New project. And put my phone on vibrate. Okay. .NET standard. Okay. Payment dot specification. Where's the folder at? That's weird. Where's this at? Hold on. Let me kill this entire project. And then close you out. Close you. This payment.specification keeps going in portal.specification. And that's weird because I could have sworn, I don't know. We'll put scope on this right here. Now if we Control Shift B, it should be green. And then hopefully, okay. So in our payment.specification, we'll have do this again, language.fs. We also want to have a operations.fs. Operations.fs. Okay. Our payment.test, we need to add some framework packages to this. Specifically, we need to add in-unit, install that. In addition to in-unit, need to add, why do I keep doing that? My muscle memory is taking over. In-unit 3 test adapter. We need to add that as a dependency to our payment.test. And so that in-unit 3 test adapter enables discoverability. Also want to add FS unit. And this is going to allow us to write F# syntax the way we would like for this test framework. So install that FS unit. Okay. Now our payment specification, we added that, and this payment specification, yeah. How do you want this to work? Well, okay. When we think about the operations, when we define the operations, it should flesh out. And actually, I should call this payment dot operation. Payment dot operations. Okay. And I should follow the same convention for language. I should say payment module language. Okay. Now, this stuff doesn't matter right here. And okay. So when we flesh out this operations, what are the operations of a payment? Okay. Well, I know that for this subsystem or for this domain, we're going to need a function for add payment type. Okay. Add payment type is going to basically have a require the user, or I don't know if we should say user or account. Account's probably better. Okay. And so it's going to take an account, and it's going to take a card type, and it's going to, you have to wonder if this needs to be validated by some external system before you add it. And I would say that it probably should, right? Because we want to catch issues early versus later. So we should probably encourage identifying runtime issues or an invalid card when they attempt to register it. Right. So this card type should really be a not validated card type. Okay. And it's going to result in a validated card type. Okay. So far we fleshed out three different types. When you want to add a payment type, we're going to require the user's account, a not validated card that they want to submit as a payment type, and a validated card type. Okay. I'm not sure if we should say add payment type or add new payment type. Just say add payment type. Okay. So this is my favorite part of programming, man, is designing the system. Okay. So in our language, we want to define that. So we say type, and then one is account, right? Type account equals, and it's probably going to have like a account. It's going to have an ID. Okay. And that's going to be of type account ID. And it'll probably have I think I already defined this somewhere. If I click home, Now go to portal, and I'll go to its specification and its language. I have address. There's person here. All right, and that's what I want. So this person can actually be migrated to our core library. So in our app foundation dot getride.core, we can throw this right here. Okay. Now something's bothering me. That's fine. Okay. So our portal language is now broke because it's not referencing our core library. Open getride.core. Okay. And do I have a reference to the core library? I do. No, I don't know what getride is. I'll get rid of that. If I go back over here to common, that's what that is. That's a fully qualified name. Oh, God. And it should be happy. It's not happy. Getride.core. Okay, if I attempt to build this, it should be happy. These red squigglies should go away. The project isn't that big. All right, so that goes away. The reason why I did all this is because now that I've graduated the person type from portal.specification to our core library, that means in the language of our payment, we can now add user. That's going to be of type God, person. We need to make sure that in our payments specification project, we reference our getride core. And then we say open getride.core. Okay. So that is our person, or that's our account type that we just defined that our operation relies on. All right. Up here we can say open language, AGE language, and no, it's not language. It's, well, that should still work, but payment dot specification dot operations. Okay. Oh, that language, it's the same thing over here, right? Go back over here. It doesn't know what language is, so maybe I have to copy the fully qualified name. So our account is now understood. Our account ID is another type that needs to be defined within our language. Let me scope down to this right here. Say type account ID equals account ID of int. All right, so that's straight. Now what else? We defined our account, but we have a not valid card type, not validated card type. So that's next on our list. Say type, not validated card type equals, okay? And so what is that going to be? Well, what is that going to be? We know that our account is going to have a list of card types, in this case, validated card types. I'll add that later. A not validated card type, well, it's going to have, I know it probably should have an ID. Should it? No, we're going to omit the ID for right now. It's definitely going to have a holder. Okay. The holder is going to be of type person. And I like the name holder better than user. Okay. Oh, shoot. Hold up. I keep hitting the function button instead of the control button. Okay. So we have account holder. For not validated card type, we have holder over here. What else? Well, we probably need to define a number, right? And this is going to be card number. And that's something that we need to flesh out. So we say type card number equals, and then it's going to be card number of int. Okay. What else? A not validated card type is going to have a expiration date, right? Expiration date. I really want to abbreviate that, and that's going to be of type expiration date. I keep hitting the function key. Willis, come here. Okay, expiration date. And that needs to be defined. Let me say type. Let me say expiration date equals. And that expiration date is going to be composed of month. We call that 2-digit month. And year. And we can say this sounds really familiar. 2-digit year. Okay. Now, why does this 2-digit year sound familiar? Because I've defined it before up here. So that 2-digit year can graduate to our core library. And I don't know if I should move to 2-digit month down there. The 2-digit year was in our portal library because you can reference a car by its 2-digit year. Yeah. So something tells me that I should probably just duplicate it, and that probably shouldn't be in core. But no, it still has the same meaning, right? So I'm gonna leave 2-digit year in here. And if I go back to language, this 2-digit month isn't defined. And I'll define a 2-digit month in here. So I'll say type 2-digit month equals, and this can be I did year as a string, but a month can I can take advantage of making illegal states unrepresentable, right? So I can say 01 and 02 and 03 and 04 and 05 and come here, 06 and 07 and 08 and 09 and 10 and 11 and 12. Yes. Okay. So, oh shoot. Am I not allowed to start with a zero? What a unexpected integer. Are you serious? So apparently I can't start off with a zero. It really sucks. I could, I see, I don't want to do that either. I could just do tick marks, or this two digit month can really just be doesn't have to say two digit. We could just say month. And then this would be January, February. I can't spell February. And this will say March. And then this will say April. And this will say May. And this will say June. And this will say June. And this will say July. And this will say August. And this would say September, and this would say October, and this would say no la la la. Come here. This would say November. November. We need to break this down. We can make this quarterly. This would say November, and this is December. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4. We could break that down. And then 4 over here. Okay. And so we can do that like that because my OCD things must be aligned. There must be order. Okay. And that right there. Come here, Willis. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. And I still have this up because I said quarterly. So this right here. And do that right there. And that right there. And that right there. And my OCD is almost accommodated. Okay, so that's quarterly. So this expiration date is month, and it's two-digit year. Okay, so that's fine. Now what? Well, what else do I have to find in my operations? We define not validated card. Are we still defining this? It has a holder. It has a number. This card needs to have an address assigned to it. Does a card need to have an address assigned to it, or does a card just need to have a, a zip code assigned to it? I think a card should have an address assigned to it. That address should be optional, I think. No, it shouldn't be optional. There should be an address that's associated to the card. Whenever I'm at the gas station and I slide my card to purchase gas at the machine, or at the gas pump, it asked me to put in my zip code. So there's a billing address that's associated to a card. Okay. Billing address. Okay. Type address. And that address should be found. That should be, I thought it should be found. If I go back to my language over here, la la la. Address is in my, I'm getting confused now. This language is supposed to be in the portal. Why is it showing up in my payment specification? The portal specification has, okay, that's fine. But in my payment specification language, that's a, okay, I'm seeing things right now. The address here needs to graduate or needs to be promoted to core library. Our core library is in our app.foundation, getride.core, and put the address in there. Okay. Now what? Now this stuff is confusing me. I have too many windows up. Okay. If we go back to our payment specification, everything appears to no longer have red squigglies, card number. Okay, so our not validated card type has a holder, has a number. That number, I think, is misleading. I still think it should be card number. Okay. Expiration date, billing address. Oh yeah, and you need a security code. Three security code. Okay. That security code type security code equals or should I just say 3-digit code? 3-digit code. Well, 3-digit code, that's very like detailed, assuming that all payment cards are going to always have 3 digits. And I don't think that detail is necessary. A security code. And we'll say that's going to be a security code event. Okay. There must be order. All right. So our operations has an account defined, a not validated card type, and we need to define a validated card type. So our validated card type that's going to have the same information, right? So what we could really do is we can we can have a card type. Type, shoot, come here. Type, card type equal, and then this is going to have our data, okay, our fields, our properties, and card, going to be a card. I don't even know if I should still be using card type. I'll just call this card. Okay. Oh yeah, and the card is going to have a type to it. All right. And that's going to be card type. So what does a card type mean? Well, your card type is going to be a choice type. Oh shoot, come here. Type, card type. That's going to be a MasterCard, Visa, or American Express. I think there's still a Discover card. Okay. I don't know if this should be in alphabetical order or most likely. I think Visa is the most popular, I think. And if we really wanted to do this, we can organize it like this. And then do something like that. All right, so that's a card type. Now what? Well, our validated card type is going to have a card as well. Okay. So now what? Well, this card should be private right now. You didn't like that, did you? I don't know. Why can't this be? Why can't I put private right? Hold up. Do I do private right here? All right, it's happy if I do that. All right, so the card should be private, meaning that you can't arbitrarily produce a card. A not validated card can be public. A validated card, I think you shouldn't be able to just create that, but you should be able to reference it. Not validated card, you can create. A card you can't create, but it's not validated, it's going to produce it. Okay. What else? Well, that provides what we need. So when you want to add a payment type, you provide your account. I'm not sure if account should really be holder. No, we'll use account. Not validated card type and a validated card type. Okay. And you should probably have the same thing for remove payment type. Remove payment type. Okay. And this remove payment type is going to require an account. Okay. And so it's already going to be a validated card type. And well, what should it do? Well, I'm thinking that when you remove it, should it return anything? I mean, that's kind of a command, right? At least when you add a payment type, it has to hit an external system, hence MasterCard system, American Express's system, Visa system. And it says, yeah, this card is valid. And it gives you that, right? And then you could go ahead and apply it towards your rides, your transactions. When you remove a payment type, do you really need to hit their systems? It's already a validated card. I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to hit their systems. You don't have to hit Mastercard's system. You don't have to hit Visa's system. They don't care if you remove their card from your system, right? So it's not going to touch an external system. But because I said external system, that does remind me that this is going to be a result of a validated card or a some type of error. Uh, let's say string for right now, but it's really a error description, which I thought I'd define down here. Error description. That's in my core. Okay, so okay. And am I referencing core in this payment dot specification? I am referencing core and payment dot specification, so I should be able to say, I should do it above here. I should say open and then get ride dot core. Okay. But that payment is going to actually rely on IO or an external system to figure out if that payment type can actually be used. So that makes sense to me right now. Good stuff. This remove payment type, it doesn't rely on the external system. Um, so I think it should just be unit. Okay. It's, yeah. Well, it could probably be a result because you have to have that payment type registered before you can remove it. But it's already a validated card type. Because it's a validated card type, that means it's already in your system already. So I think this should be unit. Uh, I think this should be unit. What the? I think this should be unit like that. Okay. And this makes sense to me. Okay. Now what? Well, let me scope to this payment over here, and let me try to build the solution. I like exercises like this. All right, so it's complaining. It's complaining because it doesn't have a reference to. We didn't import core. Open get ride dot core, and let me try to build again. We can kill you. Okay. Let's add payment type, remove payment type. Well, this stuff is public. All right. This account shouldn't be just manufactured. We should set that to private. Account should be returned. Okay. Which, with that said, we should have a type this would probably be query count, and this would equal your, in this case, it's going to be account ID. And do we really need a password for, well, okay, this is a domain, so it's assuming that we can't assume this domain can't assume that this is a mobile app, right? And so it's it's going to require credentials, and then it's going to return the account. Okay. So what's credentials? Well, credentials is your username and password, and so that's something that's public, right? You can submit or create as a user your username and password. So let's say type credentials, type record, and then you can say username, and that username is going to be of a user name, and password is going to be password. Okay. And okay, I feel like that stuff should go in core. So we have, we're going to use this right here. And we're going to use that copy paste inheritance. Yeah. And you go over here and you say, oh, come here, come here. And you go over here and say username. Over here you say password. And yes. Okay. And that's going to be, come here, come here, come here. Username. Yeah. Okay. And over here you're going to say password. Yeah. Come here. All right, so we got that over here. Yeah, come here. Oh, yeah. So now over here, come here, Willis. The credentials should be defined. I think it's over here. Yep, username, password. So when you want to query an account, um, it's not really a query account though. That's log in, right? So this is not query account. This is log. God damn it! It's still building right now, but you call this login. You log in, you pass in your credentials, and you receive your account. Okay, that makes sense to me. Now what? Well, if you have a login, you probably should have a log out. Your log out. Oh, hold up. All this doesn't belong in the payment specification. This belongs in your portal. Okay. So account should get promoted to your core library then, because I would say it's used in more than one domain. If I hit the home icon in the portal.language, no, portal.operations, then I have log in, log out, and I thought I had credentials in core. I do. This account though, that is, oh, this isn't a payment specification. This right here, take account ID too. Migrate that to core. Okay. Control Shift B. Now what? That should compile. And is there any other operations for payment? Let me scope to our payment domain. For payment, you add a payment type, you remove a payment type. What's another operation? Well, you you submit payment, right? So type pay equals. That's going to take a validated card type, and it should probably take a fee, and it should return the results of something, right? In this case, that result will always be a result type is always okay or error. It should it should return the transaction number. Um, but then again, is it really a transaction number or does it return a ride, right? And else it's the error description. Okay. Now this ride we already defined. Go back. This ride we already defined here, and that should be our receipt, or should it? Well, yeah, I don't. In a way, I kind of see this operations when you pay. Yeah, the overall story is you get a ride, but I feel like this payment thing, it shouldn't know what a ride is, right? The payment domain should have no clue what a ride is. So I'll take that back. It should be a transaction ID. Okay. And that transaction ID we can throw up here. Type transaction ID equals, and you shouldn't be able to arbitrarily create a transaction ID. And well, this is going to be this is going to be a of string maybe, or it could be a GUID. And a string can be converted to a GUID. We'll leave it as string. It'll be easier to mock. Okay. So this fee pay when your pay operation takes a validated card type, and it also takes a fee, and do we want to have, yeah, we'll keep fee, and so we'll say type fee equals, and it's going to be fee of decimal, I guess. And something to consider is your fee, you should probably constrain it to a currency. So you can either say it's a fee of dollars, or you can use unit of measure. And I'm not sure how to do this. Like, how does that work? If you say type USD, how does this work? How does this work? I think it was like type UOM. No. Type USD equals UOM. How do I do this? I forgot how to do unit of measure. F sharp unit of measure. However you spell measure, I can't spell. So you have measure and then you have type. Okay. So you have measure and then you have type USD, and that's all you got to put. Okay. So then what? How do I actually use that somewhere? Um, do I do this right here? And yeah, I guess so. Okay. I don't think I have to do this. This fee equals decimal USD, something like that. And so you pay for your payment specification. And now I'm starting to think that this payment specification should really be called a account specification. And that's what I think it probably should be. You can add a payment type to your account. You can remove a payment type to your account. Yeah, I think it should be called account dot specification. And it should probably name the DLL the same thing, Alt Enter, and well, that's already done for us. All right, cool. And then, so this is counts like that. And then over here, you have your count.test. Okay. Control Shift B. But that also means that the namespaces need to be updated as well. Um, count. All right. And over here, you also call this account. Okay. All right. So we named all this account. Alt enter on the test. And yeah, we need to name you account over here. Yes, come here. All right. So close all documents, Control Shift B. Yes, save. Control Shift B to build. And we defined our, yeah, that's fine. Account. Okay. So right now we have add payment, remove payment. We have pay, where you take a validated card type, you have a fee, and the result is a transaction ID if it's successful, or an error description. All right. Um, those are going to be the main operations. I mean, there's going to be other stuff like view transaction history. I guess you could do that too. Type view history. Okay. And is it really view history or query history? Query history, maybe. And that's going to take your um, that's going to take an account and It's either going to take an account or credentials. It's going to be an account, or it'll be an account ID, right? Well, it doesn't need to be account ID because I mean, eventually you probably want to pull information from the account that the ID is harbored in anyway, right? That's the whole point of it. So we'll take an account, and with the account, we're going to return a transaction history. Okay. And so, oh yeah, I guess I need to put equals here. Transaction history needs to be defined. We define it in our language, and we can say type transaction history equals, and this will be some list, right? But it's going to be a transaction ID is definitely going to be part of it. Transaction ID. And that's going to I wonder if I can do this. I can't do that. So this transaction history is going to be a transaction ID. Stop. It's going to be a transaction ID list. But that transaction ID should really be a transaction, and that transaction should have the right information along with the transaction ID. So you have up here, you have type, and then you have transaction. Okay. And this will have your transaction ID, and it's going to have your ride. I mean, the whole point of viewing history is you don't care about the IDs, you care about the ride details. So yeah, now your account needs to be aware of what a ride is. But I mean, that to me that's necessary. It's coupled, but it's necessary, right? So your ride. Let me go back. Your ride, which used to be in your. That's why. Your ride, which used to be in your portal dot language. Your ride needs to be in. It needs to be promoted to your core library. How do you do this? You can say common. Come here, Willis. So I'm just append this down here. Oh, crap. It doesn't know what a driver is or a vehicle. Well, I mean, the whole application is about getting a ride, right? And so, okay. No, I don't want to include all this. Mm, no, if I include all this in my wrong library. If I include all this in core, then that looks like it's happy. Mm, Okay. Now what? No, I definitely broke some stuff. If we go back to our operations for account, our transaction history is right here. Our transaction is right here. You have a transaction ID and you have a ride. Okay. This ride should also have a ride ID. And we say type ride ID. Um, or should that ride ID really be a transaction ID? Keep it unique. Ride ID equals ride ID string. Okay. But I kind of feel like that ride ID should be a transaction ID. No, ride ID should be a ride ID. Period. Okay. So if we go to our transaction is going to have a transaction ID and it's going to have a ride, but that ride is going to be unique, right? That transaction is focused on a payment, right? And so that's probably what we need to say is this is a payment transaction. And yeah, and yeah, this should be a payment transaction ID. Mm, payment transaction ID. Why does this still look messed up? Start over. Payment transaction ID. Okay. Put that up here. Put that right there. And I take that back. A transaction is always related to a payment, I would say. All right. So Control Shift B. Our transaction history is a payment transaction list. Our payment transaction is a transaction ID and a ride. Our ride going here is going to have a ride ID, driver in a vehicle. Okay. So that looks fine to me. My view models appears to be affected. And why is this being affected? Well, this ride no assignment for ride ID. Okay. So ride ID equals some ride ID. Okay. And so then down here, you can have let some ride ID equal, and you say ride ID, um, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now what, Willis? Oh, shoot. Hold up. Oh, it's supposed to be a string. Okay. So you say some ride ID. Okay. And we can have this with underscores, underscores like that. Control Shift B. Did I hit Control Shift B? I think I hit Control Shift B. And Visual Studio freezes up, which isn't good. And la 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 la. Everything passes, or everything builds. Let's see if it passes. Run all tests. Everything is green. All right. So in summary, I created a account domain, which is this right here for this get ride application. The account domain has a specification, and the specification has a language module, right? I'll scroll all the way up. We flushed out all these types, doing type-driven development and whatever. Flush out these operations, right? I should say that when we flush out the operations, the actual act of flushing out these operations flushed out the types that you see right here, as well as the types that have been deposited into our core library, which is the stuff on the bottom, right? The stuff resulted from it. Anyway, go back to operations. We have add payment type, remove payment type. We have pay, we have query history, in which you provide an account and it extracts or generates a transaction history from that. And that's it for right now. I got some missed phone calls and some text messages. And apparently I need to find my next contract. So welcome to F Sharp. I love this language. It opened up my eyes to a different way of programming, and I really enjoy it. I'm Scott Nimrod, aka Bizmonger on the World Wide Web. Available for hire. I do native application development between desktop and mobile. I really enjoy test automation, and I'm really into this functional programming too. Hardcore.NET developer, full stack as long as it's native, and also have interest in domain-driven design as well as event sourcing. So get at me. I'm out, and I guess I can check this in right now. Yeah, check you in. Check you in, homie. And added accounts, domain, and this should be. I think this is on my GitHub. Check this in. I think this is on my GitHub, and let me see. I'll go to GitHub. Come here. And I guess it's not on my GitHub. Show more. No, it's not on my GitHub. I don't know where this is at. So if I go to home and I go to, I don't know where this is at. What's this connection? This is on my Scott Nimrod bizmonger.visualstudio.com. And yeah, don't ask me how that happened, but whatever. All right, I'm out. Scott Nimrod, hit me up. And you have any questions, or if you have some suggestions that will increase my value of things that you saw that could be improved, then correct me. And the more I know, the more I'm worth. So I invite it. So, all right. Adios. Bye. Hang out. Stop broadcast.